Okay, so we're going to be training on what I call the front training, and this is the first take. Not sure how good of quality it is, but we'll give it a try. Okay, so the purpose of this training is several things, but the main is to set goals for yourself with the Naturally Plus business and have a plan on how to accomplish those goals that you set out for it. And it's preferred that I do these front trainings individually so that it's catered to that individual's life situation. But today it's a video, so you're going to be seeing a generalized version. I call it the standard. This is the standard to which I want every member to hear it so that they can adjust from this standard to make it achieve your goals sooner or later, depending on your schedule and your prioritization of Naturally Plus's business. So let's get started. The plan is for a 2-year period, okay? And I'd like to set these 2 years so that you will have a clear understanding of what would be great goals for you to have and how we can plan on accomplishing the goals that we set out for ourselves for the next 2 years' time. Today's training is going to be split into 3 sections, and if time allows, I'll add one more piece. But the first that I'll be setting out for you is to give you a visualization of what the 2 years is going to look like based on your goals. So you're going to be having a vision of your journey with Naturally Plus as a business, okay? Now, number 2, we're going to be talking about how to make that possible, but we need to have a hypothesis or theory. Basically, this is the mindset or ideology that we're going to base on how you can accomplish it. So I'm going to just call it the hypothesis. Okay, I'm going to give you a hypothesis. Now, this hypothesis is not just a random thing that I made up. It's based on the 20 years of data and 10 years of my personal experience helping people accomplish their success based on this hypothesis. So it is more of a of statistically what has proven to be to have created results. Okay, and the third piece that we'll be talking about is how to plan so that we can apply this hypothesis into your business schedule, planning to accomplish your goal throughout your journey, okay? And the fourth piece that I would like to talk about is some skills so that you can do the actions necessary to implement the plan so that you can get those results, okay? So these are going to be the 4 pieces that we'll be talking about today. But before we get into it, we need to be on the same page and have a little diagram to help all of us to be on the same page, okay? The first thing is that we need to understand that, and I think we all do understand, that there is a set amount of income that we have, and let's just put it as $5,000 a month. This is your lifestyle at the current moment. Now, what we're trying to do or say here is that the reason why we do Naturally Plus is so that we can live outside of the existing boundaries of our lifestyle by putting efforts into this business that will provide you additional income that frees up your time, helps you have great relationships and have a wonderful business that you can be passionate about, that it's helping people around the world and whoever you touch with it. But we call everything outside of your lifestyle or your financial situation your ideal situation, okay? Ideal situation means anything that's beyond what's comfortably appropriate for you right now. Most people live within this boundaries by paying their bills and buying their luxuries, etc. But some people make the mistake of, you know, going outside of it and being thrown into a situation where you have more debt than you can afford. This is not something we recommend at all, and so let's try not to do that, but instead expand our financial abilities so that we can have more of what we consider to be ideal. One of the first ideals that people have is that they want to be able to take the product for free, which means earning enough income from Naturally Plus so that it pays for itself. because we all love the products and we want to be able to have it not just for ourselves but for our whole entire family. Now, some people would love to be able to have an extra $1,000 a month where they can pay for a new car or their whole house mortgage, etc., etc. Some people might consider their ideal to be able to earn $5,000 a month so that they can fire their boss and quit their current job, or just simply to enjoy double the income. And so ideal is different from each individual. Some people might be looking to be making $10,000 a month, or even up to $35 million a month, $1 million in a cumulative total, which is the current maximum we've seen with Naturally Plus's actual member, Masako Hamada. Okay, so our business is simply asking folks whether they want to live life of acceptance of being and living within the boundaries of your current financial situation, or do you want to live a life of effort where you're trying to work something to expand that. And most people say, hey, if I can put my effort into something and I can expand it, great, I'd love to do that. So that's great. The next thing that people consider and think about is how much risk am I having to do so? And the great thing is, from the current situation that you are right now, which is the present, and let's say we're heading towards the future, none of us are looking for any business that has a possibility of where we would lose tons of money and have debt. We don't want that at all. But the great thing with Naturally Plus is only that you spend $30 to sign up with a product purchase with an annual fee of $30 and monthly purchase of the product to be able to join this business is not going to create that kind of result. And so you can only get better or stay the same with Naturally Plus. So there's no risk involved. This is a very important piece to keep in mind. Okay? And so now that we understand what's involved with Naturally Plus, how do we make this, the goals that we set out for ourselves happen? Okay? The first thing to understand is there's different ways to set goals. And my style, I guess, is to always think about after my passing, after I've died, what is the legacy that I'm going to leave behind? What is it that my family, the people that are close to me, are going to remember me for or as, okay? And so I always like to keep in mind what the legacy is that I'm trying to leave behind. Based on that, I'll live every piece of my life and time that I have, invest everything into being able to accomplish that, okay? Now, oftentimes legacy, depending on people, but there's an amount of money that's involved in accomplishing whatever you set yourself for, okay? So there's always a good idea to set a dollar amount to what that would cost. What kind of life do you want to look back and say, hey, I lived without regrets, okay? And so with Naturally Plus, we're not going to be able to adjust this presentation for every different person because everyone has different legacies that they want to leave behind. They have different ideals. So this is the standard that I'm going to share with you. The idea is if the company says we're going to pay you, then might as well receive the payment. So what I mean is don't set your goals so that it's less than what the company is willing to pay. Just take everything that the company says it's willing to give. And with one account, the maximum you can accomplish is called CFC. That's an acronym for Continued Full Cycle, CFC. And so we're going to plan on achieving the CFC in the next 2 years' time. 2 years later, you're going to be achieving the CFC, making whatever you would be making with the CFC. Okay, so with goal setting, my recommendation is to see it in multiple angles so you get the total picture. A lot of people just say, hey, I'm going to get CFC, but have no clue what in the world that entails. And so I'm going to give you 7 different ways. In actuality, there's going to be an 8th one, but 7 different ways for you to be able to see this goal. Now, if we include the time period goal, which is the 2 years, that would be the 8th. The first goal is CFC. It's a name, a goal name. It's part of the compensation plan. The second goal is 2 years. Okay, 2 years is the timing that you're going to accomplish it by. How much are you going to be making if you accomplish that? Well, number 3, you're going to be making roughly an average of $30,000 each month. Okay, $30,000 in each month. How many products does that involve? Well, it involves roughly 3,000 products. 3,000 products, okay? Now, 3,000 products, does that equate to number of people? If we say that everyone only buys $110, meaning one product per person, yes, it would equal the same as the number of products equals the same as number of people. But in actuality, the average individual in Naturally Plus, basically personal volume is about $170 to $180. We're going to go with $170. And so if we were to take 3,000 products and divide it by and multiply that by $110, then divide that by $170, you get the number of people that you would need, which would be roughly 2,000 people, okay? Now, mind you, this is a video. I'm trying to make it as concise as possible, so there's a lot of explanation that I'm cutting so that we can make sure that it's a nice and compact video for you guys to see. But anyway, number 6, you want to be able to see that from a structural goal, which is to have on your left and your right 1,000 people each, okay? That's your structural or binary goal, okay? Then you want to have your leadership goal, which is basically the number of summit achievers on your left and your right. You'd roughly have at least 3 summit achievers on your left, 3 summit achievers on your right. Okay. Now, if we want to break that down a little more, the 8th one that you'll be able to see in regards to that would be to see it in the number of spirit achievers that you have on your left and your right, because spirit is one of the most basic levels of leadership and a level of success in Naturally Plus. You would want to have at least 12 spirit achievers on your left and 12 spirit achievers on your right. Now, we're just talking about goal setting, but now that you see it in 8 different angles of the same thing, I believe that you have a greater understanding of what is going on. Now, this is very, very important in our training so that you have a clear vision of what your journey is going to look like by, first of all, knowing your destination. Have the end in mind first. Now, what we're going to do is create a calendar that goes from today all the way to the 2 years from now. And so we're going to put today here, okay? And we're going to set other milestones in between so that we understand that there's road signs to help you guys see how well you're doing in pace and speed and whether you're heading the right direction or not, okay? But before we do that, there's a theory that everyone needs to understand is here, a hypothesis. Let me use the proper lingo here. The hypothesis that we all need to understand is that there's a 10% and 1% rule. The 10%, 1% rule is that the number of people that attend Festa America, the national convention in the United States, is roughly 10% of your active group size. And the number or the percentage of people that are going to be attending the World Festa in Japan, for example, is 1% of your active group size, okay? So let me write that hypothesis down here. The hypothesis is that the Festa America attendance is roughly 10% of your active members, and your the World Convention, Festa in Japan, with over 10,000 people in attendance, you would have about 1% of your active group members, okay? So we're going to keep that hypothesis in mind, and we're going to plot several concepts into this timeline, okay? The second hypothesis that I want all of you guys to keep in mind is that people get distracted. This is more of a choice to do Naturally Plus, and therefore it's not necessarily a necessity or a need, and so people are always constantly choosing whether to prioritize Naturally Plus or not. So if you're not involved, if you're not engaged, you're going to be distracted. This is another hypothesis: to stay focused, to prioritize Naturally Plus, and to be able to make sure that you're putting in the investment of time and etc. into this business to create results. It's so important for you to engage. So the next hypothesis is that engagement is key to keeping your business rolling. A lot of top income earners' speeches is all about never give up, don't give up, keep chugging away to persevere. You know, it's because you can achieve anything you want to. It's just that's up to you whether you're gonna keep at it or not. Okay, so engagement is very key to your business. And the idea is the bigger, the greater the attendance, the greater the audience, the more powerful the message gets across. So instead of you meeting your friend one-on-one, it's better that it's a home meeting where there's several folks there. It's better that it's a seminar that includes 30, 40, 50 people. It's better that it's like a regional big event that has a couple of hundred people. It's better that it's a national event of several thousand, so on and so forth. Okay, bigger, the more powerful impact to inspire, because our job is not to force anybody to do anything, but we are here to inspire and provide motivation for them to do things on their own, as in not alone, but as in self-propelled. Okay, so inspire and motivate. Inspiration and motivation is going to be very, very important. Okay, so we can do that with a bigger crowd, and it makes more powerful. But just like the chicken and the egg, if you have more people investing into being in these bigger crowds and creating attendance to these crowds, you're going to be sure to have a large team as well. I mean, to travel all the way to Las Vegas or Hawaii, Honolulu next year, and people from New York or other parts of the mainland, it's a lot of money and time invested into doing so. So you're not going to be able to get a large percent of your people to be able to go there, but what the ratio says is the ratio exists, and so if you can get 10% there, or whatever number of people you get there, most likely is that's 10 times, that's 10% of your actual group size. And you can look at your own organization, other people's organizations, ask about it, you'll realize it's pretty accurate. Technically, it's somewhere between 6 to 14%, so I'm just taking the average of 10% here, okay? So inspire and motivate, inspiration and motivation is going to be key, okay? So we want to make sure that they attend the most powerful events, okay? In other words, I've never seen anybody succeed with Naturally Plus to earning tens of thousands of dollars in income where they never or do not attend World Convention Festa. Pretty much everybody who's making more than $10,000 a month are willing to travel across the country, whether it's because you have the money or whether you see the value and you want to invest ahead. I'm not sure, it's dependent on individuals, but they're always there. I don't know why, but that's how it is. And they're always there at the national convention too. So I think it's pretty safe to hypothesize that you're going to have to be there one way or another if you want to be making financial success with Naturally Plus. I mean, you might not feel like doing that right now, but you'll see the value of it. After you've missed out a couple of times, it's not really a good idea. My recommendation is, I mean, believe us, we're not here to hurt you. We're here to support you because your success is a success of everybody else's as well. Okay, so let's plot these major events. Festa American World Convention. The 2020, which is the deadline for our goal, okay, of achieving CFC, the World Convention Festa will be sometime around the end of the year, October or November. Now, it's not set yet. And then the convention that we have nationally here in the United States called Festa America 2020 will be somewhere around June or July as well, okay? Let's look at how many others there would exist. Now, there's going to be Festa America 2019, which will be held in Hawaii, okay? Hawaii, okay? And that is going to be on June 21st and June 22nd, okay? So that's definitely an event you want to be there at, okay? And of course, there would be the World 2019 World Convention Festa, okay? And that's actually not it. There's one more that's coming up very fast. It's in October, okay? October, we're going to have the World Convention 2018 Festa in Japan, and this is going to be held October 13th, I believe. And forgive me if the numbers our dates are wrong. I'm always having difficulty with numbers. But these would be the major events that will give you guidance that you definitely want to be there for the next 2 years. So what we're going to do next is we're going to look at how many people there would be in attendance, okay? So we're going to look at first 2020. Festa World Convention 2020, you're going to be a CFC achiever standing on stage. So, I mean, you can have additional goals here, standing on stage in front of 10,000 people, whatever. There's many ways to set up different perspectives. But you're going to have at least 1% of the 2,000 people that is in your team, okay? 1%, 1%. So 1% of 2,000 people is very simple. That's 20. Okay? So you're going to have at the very least 20 people attending. Okay? Now, I'm saying this number because you're here in the United States. If you live in Japan, it's your national convention, so that would mean you would have the 10%. This is the travel and paying for, and right now we have incentive trips to get you there, which is one way of getting there, but we're not saying go there just because you achieved Go Japan or World Leadership Invitational. Go there anyway. And so that would mean many people might be paying out of their own pocket. At least 1% you want them to be there, okay? That is your goal. Now, if we look at Festa America here in the United States, your goal is 10%. So by this time, let's say you have 2,000 people by this time, you're going to have at least 200 people in attendance. 200 people in attendance in convention at that time. Okay, so now you're getting a additional goal setting here where you know it by the number of attendees at the major event. So let's use this Festa America here, the one that's coming up, as another milestone or a marker for us to set a goal, for us to get a visual idea of what the in-between is going to look like. Okay, so right here we're going to put summit. Okay, if you're going to achieve CFC in 2 years' time, my recommendation in the next 10 months' time to achieve summit. So we're going to put the first name goal, summit. Second, the time period of 10 months, okay? Number 3, we're going to put the number of income, the amount of money you're making as $10,000 a month, okay? Number 4, it's 1,000 products being purchased in your team, okay? And number 5, it's going to be, I think I calculated it over here, that would be roughly 700, and forgive me, I did round these numbers so that I can calculate it on top of my head. So that's about 700 people, and you're going to have basically those people structured in a binary with 350 on the left and 350 on the right. Okay? And then number 7, that would mean that you would at the very least or roughly have many spirit achievers in your team, and you would have 2 to 3, but I'm going to put 3 here just to be on the safe side, 3 spirit achievers on your left and your right. Okay? This is what your situation is going to look like. So what about our attendance goal? Well, by this time you have 700 people, so you're going to have 70 people going to Hawaii. Okay? 70 people traveling to Hawaii for the national convention. For what about the global convention? Well, the World Convention Festa, you're going to have 7 people. Oops, let's use a different color. We'll keep it the same here. So for the World Convention Festa, you'll have 7 people in your team that will go. Okay. Now, once again, I'm saying that this is all a standard generalization, statistically based, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's exactly how it is with your situation. So just understand this is what we've seen statistically when we look at it all overall. Okay, so summit by convention next year. Okay, that's a whole 10 months to go. Let's set up one more. Spirit bonus is one of the first milestones people aim for, so let's plot that on our timeline. And I recommend spending 6 months to achieving that. When you decide, hey, I'm going to do Spirit, then it's about something where you can do it in 6 months. It doesn't matter whether you've been around for 3 years or whether you've been around for just a couple of weeks. The moment you say, I'm doing it, that's when you're focused, prioritizing, and so you're most likely going to achieve it in roughly that amount of time, which is 6 months, okay? So this is where you're going to achieve the Spirit bonus. Okay, when you achieve the spirit bonus, what's going to happen? Well, you're going to do that in 6 months' time. Number 3, you're going to be earning roughly $2,000 to $3,000 a month. Okay, and number 4, you're going to have roughly 200 product shipments. Okay, and that would mean that you have a group size of about 140 people. Structurally, or from a binary standpoint, you'd have 70 on the left and 70 on the right. Okay. And instead of spirit people in your team, you would have full cycles. So on your left and your right, you would have 5 full cycles on your left, 5 full cycles on your right. Okay. That would be basically what your spirit looks like. Okay. So we're going to add on one more thing here. So it's a time period of 6 months here, and a time period of 4 months here. Okay, it's shorter from Spirit to Summit because you know what you're doing and you have financial success and results to be able to accelerate your business. Every person we talk to that achieves Spirit, they say if they knew everything that they know today, it could go back in time, they'd be able to achieve it faster and sooner. They have now accumulated the confidence, the knowledge, experience, etc., etc. So things get quicker because you have more team members that are involved and invested into building a business with Naturally Plus. Okay, now in between your Summit achievement and CFC, one thing you could put here is definitely another time stamp here, or sorry, another marker here. And since we're running out of space, I'm going to put an arrow down here. Okay, and this would be 7-star. I would recommend 7-star as a middle point here, 7-star. Okay, so what in the world is 7-star? Basically, it's when you have 7 Spirit Achievers on your left and your right. You're going to be making roughly $15,000 to $20,000 a month. Okay, that's going to be your income, $15,000 to about $20,000 a month, just around in between. You're going to have about 2,000 products shipped out every month from your team. Okay, and so that roughly equates to 1,300 people. Okay, and so if you look at it from a structural standpoint, that would look like 650 on left, 650 on the right. Okay, and that would mean that you would have a total of 7 Spirit Achievers on your left and 7 Spirit Achievers on your right. Okay, so I hope that kind of gives you an idea. How come I only have 6 here? Oh, I forgot the time period here. Let me add that here. The time period that you would accomplish that. Let's call that 6 months in between here. 6 months to 10 months, so that's 16 months. Okay, so that's 16 months to be able to achieve that point there. Okay. There's no major event from the corporate in regards to Fest American World Convention at that timing, nor is there one for Spirit, but that's where you need to start thinking about what to do about that situation. Okay, so now we have basically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 major events that we want to invite and create attendance to. However, 5 in 2 years is very few. There's only like 5 to 10 days that you're spending with Naturally Plus in 2 whole entire years, and that's very, very few days. So going back to our hypothesis, engagement-wise, it's not very engaging. It's something that we can forget for the entire year or half a year until we get struck by the fact that, oh my gosh, we need to go to convention, okay? So what we need to do is create additional engagement points in between all of these events so that we can make sure everyone's involved, motivations are high, they're consistently inspired, new people are being able to invite friends to these meetings, and bigger the better, but you need smaller ones so that people don't have to worry about paying for tickets and so on and so forth. That's more at-home kind of feel to it, okay? So there's going to be different ways to present. I mean, this is all about presentation, how well we present. But we all know we need to have places for presentations, medias to use, and time for that to be presented. So I'm going to write down several things that people use as tools to do presentations Number one, there is, for example, seminars. Okay? Number two, there are home meetings. Okay? Number three, there are ABC presentations. Okay? And these are basically where you have an advisor to present on your behalf to the client. Hence, you're the bridge. That's where the acronym comes from, A, B, and C. Okay? And then we have webinars. Okay? There's also another way to present, which is by yourself, you yourself. And oftentimes when that's the case, you're using videos, brochures, and other tools, okay? So these are the 5 major ways to share Naturally Plus, the ways to share Naturally Plus, okay? The challenge is some of these, from the top to bottom, are very, very minimal in attendance and audience. That means the level of inspiration and motivation is very low below here, okay? And it's very, very important that you presenting alone means there's no audience except your guest, and so it's the weakest, okay? It's gonna be easy for them to get appointments with. It's gonna be easy to force them to buy products out of friendship or out of pity, whatever it may be, but it's not effective for them to consider it for a business of their own, to want to build it. It's better that they see others involved. Webinars are great, but depending on how good you are at gathering people in locations and creating that rowdy feel on that webinar, it's very weak as well. So the most powerful tools to use would be these first 3: seminars, home meetings, and ABC presentations. These are the most powerful tools that you can use that can be done frequently throughout the year. So you want to set these up all throughout the year. But once again, seminars can be of varying sizes. It could just involve 20, 30 people to about 100 people. Home meetings, they tend to be from 3 to maybe 15 people. ABCs are usually just 3 people involved: the client, the bridge, and the advisor. Webinars, it's all dependent on how you do it. But at times you want to have something that's more content rich. When you have our CEO visit or so on and so forth, and you want that to be placed every once in a while throughout the year, because regular seminars tend to get boring. Once you attend, you feel like you never have to attend again. So even our members, supposedly they're business oriented, they also need to be motivated and inspired. And so every once in a while when there is a special, people get excited and get focused. And so there's different things that you can do. We call them regionals or super Saturdays or product fairs, and these specials that happen every once in a while. We definitely recommend you go at, okay? Now, here we're going to be elaborating a little bit about this plan part. We're talking about the plan part now. How do we plan on getting this happening? How do we plan on making sure that there's enough engagement points throughout the 2 years? Okay. Now, there's about 5 different business involvement in Naturally Plus. 5 ways you can involve yourself in Naturally Plus. Okay, I'm running out of space here, so forgive me if I write very small. I'll take a photo, you'll be able to see it, you'll be able to follow along with the video and the photo in front of you. Okay, so the additional thing it's the 5 things that we can be involved with Naturally Plus, or 5 different ways you can be involved with Naturally Plus, are as follows. First of all, you can simply be someone that attends. That's usually at the very beginning. You're there to confirm whether what you're involving yourself in is legitimate. You want to make sure that you're not getting involved in a Ponzi scheme, etc., etc. You're going to be attending and trying to figure things out yourself, okay? So attend. Be involved. You got to turn into a fan before you talk to anybody. You have to be excited, loving Naturally Plus, okay? So attend. Number 2. Once you start attending and your conviction strengthens, you're going to start wanting to invite people, and you want to have people to be signing up. And so the next thing you're going to do is you're going to start inviting people. So there's different ways of involvement in this business. You can just be a happy attender, attendee of these seminars. You could be someone who invites people, okay? But there's a limitation of how many people we personally can invite. I mean, we don't know infinite number of people, and we can't meet new people every single day to the point that we can always bring somebody new. We definitely want to try, but there'll be a point where you're going to be not inviting anybody. And so you're going to start thinking, oh, I don't have to go to seminars because I'm not going to invite anybody. No one's coming that I invited. There's no guests involved. But that just takes away from the engagement part. You're not engaged. And therefore, you're going to start getting distracted. You're going to start putting Naturally Plus on the side. And you don't want to do that. Stay involved. When you're feeling low, that's when you got to go to seminars. When you're feeling happy, you go to seminars. When you're feeling normal, you go to seminars anyway. Because whatever situation it may be, the inspiration, motivation will help you stay focused with the business. The third way of involving with Naturally Plus is to support others to be able to invite. Okay? Support others to invite. This is often called follow-up. What we're trying to do is get people butts in the seats, whether it's homes or seminars, events, whatever it is. Our job is to support the inviting process or activity of our team members. As you can understand, as you go rank up the levels, you're going to have team members signing up that they're going to be attending, they're going to be inviting, and then you're going to need to be able to help them, support them to be able to create greater attendance. Okay? Excuse me. The fourth thing, or fourth way of involving with Naturally Plus is one of the most powerful, and I truly believe this is the best way for you to get to summit or above. I mean, summit is definitely, this is something you definitely will be doing. Look at every single summit achiever in Naturally Plus and every single Naturally Plus summit achiever in Japan. Most of them, if not all, they've hosted events, okay? Hosting is so important. You know what that means? Hosting is not sitting around and saying, I wish there were more seminars. Oh, I wish there was a seminar on Tuesday nights too. Oh, you know, it's not complaining. It's saying, it's taking control. You're being the captain of your ship. You're saying, hey, I want a seminar at this day on this time with this speaker. I want to make it happen. So I'm going to contact the right people, book the right venues, and put it up on the corporate website, schedule it, and then get people to come. And it's going to be great because I'm the host. I'm going to be able to control the content, how it's designed. Too many people complain about everything else except themselves, and they're just chicks opening their mouths saying, hey, feed me, feed me, feed me, okay? It's okay to have people like that. Not everyone can be a host. Not everyone's going to be the ones that take the initiative. It's fine. Accept their existence. Love them for that. But you're trying to look for people that are interested in hosting, taking control, okay? Hosting means you set up the best environment for your team members. What better way to express your love for your team, especially when you're trying to accomplish great success? Okay, the last one is something that we are starting to see, but not yet in full fledged up, or I'm not even sure if fledging is the right word for this, but anyway, this is something that I've been doing over the past 4 years. Okay, this is something that I've been instigating the leaders to do. This is called business development. What it is creating an ecosystem, okay? Not only are there events being hosted, the next level of success is by creating ecosystems, okay? What in the world is an ecosystem? Is it like a tundra? Is it like a Amazon forest or something like an ecosystem? But it's the same system, just like a rainforest or whatever you might think. It's a situation, it's an environment that you create for your team members where people feel like they can attend, people feel like they're invited, they can do all these things. They feel like there's purpose, that it's driven, it's heading towards something. It's where there's strategy in mind. This, folks, is ecosystem building. This is only one piece. This is just goal setting ecosystem. We have not even figured out what kind of seminars, when we wanted it, how big of it we want to do it, and we haven't even put that in our schedule, and we haven't created flyers and tickets and figured out and started calling people, okay? So this is a very, very scratch of the surface of a humongous iceberg that there's so much fun in diving into, but not worry about being overwhelmed, because we're going to give you in little mouthfuls, okay? Ecosystem building. Look at Yukari Matsumoto in New Jersey. She's building her ecosystem, creating systems and patterns to build the business to grow. Midori, Satomi, Summit members in Seattle are creating ecosystems not only in their state, but in other states, creating success in various regions like Oregon and New Mexico and other parts of California, so on and so forth. Now, look, Maki is one of the most swiftest, was one of the most swiftest to incorporate the ecosystem ideology by creating team meetings and seminars locally in Las Vegas, and has passed that on to her team members. Now I involve with certain leaders to set up schedules that they instigate and request. Now Maki has gone to California to build that as well. Prior to that, Hiroe has taken the lead with all the other Spirit Achievers in the California region to be able to build that as well, and it's coming out to be a great thing right now. And Benjamin Koo, he has been one of the first people that has done seminars consistently every single Monday in Las Vegas, traveling 3.5 hours every single week from Loma Linda to build an environment, an ecosystem for his team here, as well as all the home meetings he does in in Loma Linda. Hawaii is amazing. All the Summit Achievers have been creating that ecosystem, utilizing the Hawaii Seminar House, Sunday, Ruth, Kengo, Asuka with Kengo, and Mr. Inafku. Okay, it's an amazing situation right now where we're seeing so much results where people are creating ecosystems. Hawaii was one of the first places that created a board, an advisory board, a two-tier structure to support the region, and that's getting evolved right now too to a more refined situation. Not yet a Summit member, but Shizuko in New Mexico is a completely independent team. That's amazing. Working with Mary, one of her newest Spirit Achievers, it's exciting to be able to see that. She's going to be really quick to achieving Summit because she's hosting. She's been hosting and she's creating an ecosystem, scheduling and planning. Okay. Now I hope with these names and ideas and examples, you guys are trying to start to see why this is so important. Okay. Okay, now that we have a plan on how to implement, now we got to implement this to actual events and frequencies. How many of them do we want? When do we want it? Okay, my recommendation, we're going to sum it all up here, is number one, you're going to want to, in a year, annually, okay? Annually, you're going to attend World Convention Festa, okay? Number two, you're going to attend annually the Festa America in the United States. Number three, in a year, okay, in 1 year, you definitely want to host and prepare a huge regional event. I mean, the word regional doesn't mean you have to cross states, etc., but a huge event that is about double or triple. I recommend at least triple your usual seminar attendance, okay? This is where you have like Kengo flying from Hawaii to be in Seattle, Yukari flying into LA to do a presentation or be a special guest. This is something where you have, Sunday be a special guest in Vegas, Ruth in New Mexico, so on and so forth. Something that just happens so rare, okay? I'm just going to call it a regional, okay? And that's going to be something that happens once a year as well. And I recommend to put it in the complete opposite of the spectrum. So that means if you have Festa America and Festa America, you would have a regional right in between, so that becomes your middle point. So then you have 3 months, you have 6 months each in between. 6 months each in between, right? Okay, and so what you want to do is, how do we make sure that the slack that we're going to have, like a rope, the slack in between Festa America, the regional, and the Festa America, how do we make sure that's still nice and tight and highly motivated? Well, we want to have at least a seminar, which could be a special 1 seminar per month, a monthly get-together of everybody. I mean, there should be one event in Hawaii, for example, where every Spirit Achiever attends. So every month, there should be an event that holds 150 people in attendance every month. And that's something that you really want to create, okay? So I'm going to skip around, counting down again. And that's actually number 5. You want to have at least 12 seminars. Of course, if you have regional, can you replace it with a regional? Sure, why not? But why not have it too? But just be flexible. I'm not trying to lock you up in this system here. But 12 seminars you definitely want to have. One thing though is you can't, every single month being a special would be really tiring, okay? So you want to have that rhythm and a wave to things. So every 2 months you would have something special. That's when you have our CEO Tajima come. It's a spirit rally combo. It's a holiday special, whatever it is. And I would recommend you do that 2 times. You do that every other month. So that's a total of 6 specials. You have 6 specials throughout the year, every 2 months, and that can replace one of the 12, or it can be something separate because it's special. It's a product fair. It's something, wow. Okay. Sorry for my excitement. I just love this job. Okay, so that's the fourth one. Fifth one is 12 seminars throughout the year. I would recommend having at least a home meeting, a small 4 to 5 people, 10 to 15 people at somebody's house every other week at the very least, because we can use those home meetings to say, all right guys, next week's the big event, or in 3 weeks time we're gonna have the big event, or after the big event you can say, hey guys, all right, so we had a great event last week, this is what we're gonna do, and let's plan our business. You know, you want these smaller pieces to be able to do that, okay? And people who missed out on the seminars, who couldn't match those days, you want to have these reserve dates, home meetings in between. And so I would recommend 24 home meetings throughout the year. Okay? And then number 7. This is something not about recruiting, but it's more about, this is something more about recruiting. You want to have ABC presentations and business trainings throughout the year, okay? It doesn't matter when, you want to have as many as you can. As many as you can. If you can do it every day, great. 3, 4 a day, that's wonderful. I mean, Takuya texted me several days ago saying that he's, over the past month, he's signing up with the whole entire team, like 8 people every single day. How many presentations, how many online signups is that? That's pretty amazing. Well, that's 8, obviously. But that's pretty exciting, right? But that's the kind of situation you want to do. The 7th is ABCs and trainings. ABCs and trainings on a day-to-day basis, whenever necessary. Trainings aren't necessarily something you do as seminars. I personally think trainings are something that's catered individually, but general information like the comp plan or the basics of Naturally Plus's business, how to use Zoom, how to use Line. These things can be a webinar or a video, but the more proper training, like this kind of training, that's individualized. You do that at least within a week after you sign them up, etc., etc. You gotta do it like pa, 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 because engagement is important. Speed and concentration, that's key. Okay, so these are things that you want to now plot into this 2-year plan so that you create a powerful frequency, wave, an energy. You got to ride the wave, but you got to create the wave too, because, hey, you can't just sit around or else the wave passes you by. You got to do the pedaling as well, okay? So let's make it happen. All right, the last thing I'd like to share with all of you guys is couple of skills to do that. The biggest part was attend and invite. Basically, it's about inviting. That creates the new signups, right? That creates the new folks that hear about the presentation. How do you be a great inviter? There'll be two skills, I guess. No, not skills. It's more like one skill, and number 2 is more of a method, okay? The method is called voice change, okay? Voice change. The reason why we invite, the reason why we utilize audience power is because there's more to the story than what you alone can offer. There's more to Naturally Plus than what you can express, no matter how articulate you may be. Seeing is believing. You know, it's hard to believe somebody's just story about things. And so that's what I mean is going to be very, very important for you guys to utilize voice change. This is our Naturally Plus lingo, but in network marketing or just in general with business, we call this third-party validation. Third-party validation or the power of audience, okay? This is something that you really, really want to do. Have someone with authority, experience, knowledge, and success and confidence coming out of that success to talk on your behalf. And when you sign up, you don't have any money, you don't have any success with Naturally Plus, you have no experience, you're limited in knowledge, and your supposed conviction is more like you just think that it's amazing. You don't know it clearly. Your passion is really flimsy because if the day-to-day distractions distract you, you're gonna get distracted. Okay, so very weak. But you do have the trust relationship with the people that you're inviting. So that's why we work as a team. You provide the trust. We provide the skills, the knowledge, the experience, the confidence, the conviction, etc., the passion. Combine it, it becomes a powerful presentation. That's why you use voice change. Now, this is the method. Now, here's the skill. In order to invite people so that they can get their, so that you can utilize voice change, you want to use a skill called tee up. Okay, tee up is not groveling at the person who's going to speak on your behalf and saying, "Oh, this guy is making so much money and he's so successful," and sounding like you're his or her dog or something, you know. That's not the point of tee up. Tee up is making sure that the audience, whoever's being invited, has the right posture to be willing to listen. It's like opening up the doors in their ears, opening up that door in their hearts to say, all right, you know what, I'm a skeptical person, I'm stubborn, but I'm also a normal, good person, and so I'm going to listen, focus, and concentrate on what you have to say. That's the least level of respect that we want as presenters when we talk on your behalf. And you can do that by utilizing tee up. Tee up is more of expression of appreciation, saying, hey, you know what, I'm really thankful for this person who's going to be taking time out of his busy schedule to share with us about Naturally Plus. And of course, he's going to be able to make income off of that if you sign up, but you have the choice of signing up or not. And so he could just be wasting his time, but he's willing to be out here to do it for us. This is exciting. It's amazing. Personally, he is someone that's taught me everything. He's someone who really got me out of the rut. You know, I was hopeless. I couldn't figure out what I wanted to do in life, and I felt like I was living day to day. I don't know what I was doing, but this guy kind of pulled me out of that and really helped me see my vision and my purpose in life. And you know, I've learned so much from him. I'm so thankful for him, and I really think it would be great for you to learn from him too. So that's a tee up. That's awesome. A little bit wordy and a little bit less personalized, but it's better than Mr. Ono is the vice president of Naturally Plus. He has lived in 7 different countries on 5 continents. He has a wife and daughter and a family man. He likes to sail on his sailboat, and he's been involved with Naturally Plus for 10 years, since 22 years old, and he just recently turned 32. Facts are great, but add a little personal touch to it. Without the facts, oftentimes being the very youthful appearance that I have, sometimes people who do care about age and experience, which often comes by the number of years you've lived and been in the business world, do need those facts. And 10 years, VP, age 32, multicultural background, I don't know, these things are very powerful for people to pay the necessary respects. But people are more willing to hear it when there's a little more personal touch. That you and I chat online every once in a while, and we joke around, and we send photos with each other, and you know my pet peeves, and you know, I can say harsh things to you, but you'll be like, oh, Mr. Ono, you with your language, and then you give me ideas, and I'm like, wow, that's great, but I don't think that's the right thing to do. And you know, a great relationship, that's normal, right? Normal relationship. Tee up is to be able to say to them, your audience, that I respect this person, I definitely think you should hear from this person, and you're not going to be wasting your time. Okay? This is the most powerful way to get people there. But people are not willing to listen to you if they fear that you're being brainwashed. So you have different ways to expressing, and it depends on your personality and how people see you. But one very powerful tool I'm going to give you guys, which many of you already know as part of skill, is to share your story. People don't want to know the facts of whether the supplement sells a lot or whether the company's been around for 20 years. I mean, people do care about that, but more importantly, they want to know your motives. Why in the world are you talking to me about this? I mean, in the first place, why in the world did you get involved with this thing? How did you find out about it, and what was your original reaction to it? You sound like a fanatic right now. You're like a fan of it, but you know. But like, tell me, like, what's the story about it all? So it's very important for you to, at the beginning, to be able to share your story. Hey, you know what? I'm just got involved with this new business, and I'm very excited about it. I have no experience with it, but I'm thinking it's going to be great. So I wanted to invite you to a seminar so that you might be interested too, because I don't want you to say, you know, why didn't you tell me earlier? And you were one of the first people that I came up in my mind, and I wanted you to see it for yourself. And who knows, if you're interested, hey, we get to work together. That'd be great, wouldn't it? By the way, though, you know, I first learned about it several months ago when my mom told me that I should start taking this supplement because I'm always on my cell phone all the time. And I'm like, Mom, not another network marketing business, not another scam, oh my God. And I wanted to, like, once and for all convince my mom that network marketing is terrible, don't do it. I went and researched. I went to those seminars that they have, and I hate them seminars, you know, I've never loved going there, spending an hour, but then, and then I saw everything so different. It inspired me, it captivated me, but I was like, I'm still skeptical, you know, it can't be that good. So I did my own research. I went on YouTube and I looked up online. I tried to find all the bad stuff about the company, and you know what? Of course, there's here and there, just like any other company would have, but there's more value to what it is. And I got to see so many people at this seminar that I realized, and I asked individually, like, so, do you really believe in this product, and like, do you actually make money? And the responses were so honest and transparent and truthful. Authentic people are involved. There was no faking it involved. And so I was like, okay, this is different. This is not like the network marketing seminars I've been to. This is not like the Ponzi scams that I was like invited to and tricked into coming, saying like, oh, come to dinner with me after the seminar. They say the seminar part very quietly. They're like, come to a no, they don't say come to a seminar and let's have dinner later. They say, come to dinner after the seminar. Right? We're sick and tired of that kind of like trick you into coming. And so I'm so glad I got to see it. I really, really think it's important for you to take a look at it personally yourself. Would you be interested? Do you have the time this day, this place, this time? And they'll be like, I'm not interested in network marketing. Yeah, I know, but didn't you hear my story? I wasn't interested either. But this time it's different. But you always say it's different all the time. I know. And I realized that I was very, very wrong. And I was just being thrown left and right from one opportunity to another. And you know what? I honestly was tired of network marketing. So I decided not to. And that's why I didn't join and never talk to you for this past couple of months, because I wanted to be sure this time. And you know what? I feel like it is. So I want your opinion. I want you to see it for your own two eyes. I don't want you to believe me because I know my track record with you because I've done so many other businesses. You know, there's so many ways you can invite people, being honest, truthful, but you do it with your story, the real deal, and use Tia. You're going to enjoy this speaker. This speaker is the most handsome person in the world, and you know, whatever. But anyway, I hope that makes sense. Went over a little bit beyond 45 minutes, but it's under 1 hour. This is a training I hope you were able to enjoy. There's plenty more trainings like this after this, but this is a training that I want all the leaders to be able to do and to be applied at least within latest a week within, and this person says, hey, I'm interested in business, I want to get involved, what should I do? That's when you're like, okay, well, first of all, let me give you what's called the front training. It's part of the orientation that we do for our new business-minded people. And so can I have a 45 minutes to an hour to train you on that? Or can we have this successful person so-and-so to train you on that, and so on and so forth? That's the kind of stuff you would say. Okay? All right, so now you know when to apply this training, to whom you apply this training. You also know the purpose of this training, and you also understand that you have a clear vision of the 2-year journey with a solid, proven hypothesis that affects everything in your business. You have a plan on how to implement, and you've learned a couple of skills to be able to make it happen and make it into action. So after this training, your first thing to do is create your version, okay, and to build. One last thing, one of the most motivating and inspiring things is to get a free trip. We all love to travel. We all love to go out outside of our daily lives and see the world. Naturally Plus has 2 incentive trips. Number 1 is called World Leadership Invitational, and the other one is Go Japan. This year, we're heading to Japan for the World Convention that's scheduled in 2019. It'll be about November. And so you have a whole entire year up until the end of June to qualify for World Leadership Invitational or Go Japan. Both of these trips will take you to Japan for 3 to 4 or 5 days, and you'll be able to be part of the World Convention, see the manufacturing facilities, mingle with the top income earners, and enjoy the culture, modern and traditional, of Japan. And those of you who achieve the World Leadership Invitation get to go all the way to Vietnam as well, in addition to this trip to Japan. And so you get to see, of course, the expanding growth in Vietnam for Naturally Plus and the beautiful country and culture that it offers. So one powerful motivational piece for your year also is going to be WLI and Go, your additional goal setting for Naturally Plus to keep you focused. All right, I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you very much. Have a good day.